Hello everyone, welcome along to the Rangers Rabble Women's Show. I'm the host Brian and I'm joined again by Wilf, Laura and Car. How are we, folks?
Good.
In the context of what we're talking about for the next 45 minutes or so, yeah, I'm fine, but not really. Yeah, anyway.
Yes. Other events have put a damper on the club, but for the next 45 minutes we will be positive and happy as the Rangers women march on to another convincing win for the 10-0 win over Dundee United at Foundation Park in Dundee. Carr wasn't there to see the glorious Hattricks, but Laura was. Laura, how was it?
It was great. Rangers team winning. What can you want? Loads of goals, as you expect. Wilco, another hat-trick. Laura Berry getting amongst the goals. Putting in a really good shift because she knew Carr wasn't there. Ailey Austin performed really well, also because Carr wasn't there.
Seems you're a bit of a jinx, Carr.
Well, I don't know if you could say that when we've scored, 9 goals in the last 2 games before this one, and I've been there, but they just know that I'm not there, so they put in a performance, so I get to miss it.
Absolutely. And Wolf, you were there also, weren't you?
No, I wasn't because they moved the kickoff time.
Oh.
Don't get me started.
I'm still very annoyed that Dundee United sold tickets last Monday on the strength of it being a 4 o'clock kickoff, and 12 hours later changed it to a noon kickoff, which obviously clashed with the old firm and with the best people in the world. I couldn't stand and watch another game of football, even if it is one I'm interested in, while Rangers are playing Celtic. I just couldn't. I mean, I couldn't have concentrated. I'd got thrown out of Foundation Park, particularly the way that game went, but that's for a pod later on in the night. So no, I wasn't there. I've watched the highlights. I've got my notes. So my daughter was there. She tells me that it was very good. She says, yeah, they did say it after the game. They turned on the style because Carr wasn't there. So
that's fine.
They all said it. Every single player went, good game, Carr wasn't here, so happy days.
Brilliant.
Cancel my flight for Wednesday then.
I was waiting to say, just hearing exactly what they think of your Car, aren't you?
It's fine.
You'll still love them. Anyway, on to the game, and the starting lineup for the game was Fife and goals. Back 4, I think it was, 3 of Docherty, Rafferty and Middock. We had Howitt, McCauley, Arnott, Austin, Berry, McLaughlin and Wilkinson. Laura, was a few changes there, but obviously with the context of games coming up with the European game midweek, was that an expected sort of ring of changes?
Yeah, I think it was. We were all quite happy with it at the ground because we have got quite a good squad depth in that anyway. So it was quite interesting to see the duo of Berry and Wilkinson up front. We're quite excited to see that, and obviously, as it turned out, it delivered. It worked quite well. But yeah, I'm surprised to see Fife in goals. I thought we'd have Vic in there just because I would assume Vic's going to be the goalie on Wednesday. But otherwise, I think the team was kind of as you would expect it, with the players that got rested, like Kathy Hill and that. You kind of expected them to get rested anyway with a big game coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. And the questions are flying in already, Car. So we'll bring this one to you. From JD, I have one question that relates to both ladies and men's teams. Do you think the length of a strong core who have created a friendly family atmosphere as the difference between the potency?
What? I don't really understand the question.
I dare say it's as he's probably asking that, like, there's been a core at the women's team for quite a long time, and they've obviously been there for quite a long time together, and they've created a really good atmosphere.
Cash still doesn't understand the question.
No, to an extent, but it's always going to be different because 50,000 versus 150 is very different in terms of, I guess, vitriol. There is an element of it being more family friendly. At the women's game, there's not an awful lot of swearing unless you don't sit next to me and Wilf. There isn't the same songs being sung, that kind of thing. So it is different that way. But I mean, I don't know if I prefer it. It doesn't really matter to me. I'm just there to watch the football, so I don't really care. But I guess it probably is the difference now that there is more regular people going every week to the women's games. It will create a bit more because everyone knows each other now, so everyone talks to each other. Whereas before it was just people individually standing watching, whereas now people go and speak to each other. Yeah,
well, it's probably a better question for yourself because you go to like a lot of the women's games and the men's games, so you'll maybe have a better sort of idea.
I actually watch the games completely differently. I mean, at the men's game, because obviously, as Carl says, there's a lot more supporters there. There's a lot less kind of kids around about you. You know, loads and loads of kids go to the women's games, so they, believe it or not, I swear a lot more at the men's games than I do at the women's games. If you've ever heard at the women's games, you might not find that hard.
I don't believe that.
But I kind of try and temper myself a little bit. I don't give the match officials as much stick at the women's games, probably because I can be identified because the crowd's not so big and people will laugh at me when I'm getting an absolute fool of myself. But yeah, I mean it is. I mean, when you've got more kids there, it is going to be more family friendly. The atmosphere is going to be better, and the fact that I know, having spoke to a lot of people that go to games that have only just started to go to the women's games and seeing comments online and things, they really appreciate the fact that the players take time with them after the game, particularly with the kids. Now, that's fantastic, but as the game grows, and if we get to the sort of situation where there's they're getting big crowds, they're getting 10, 15, 20,000, as fanciful as that might sound. I mean, you've got Arsenal selling out the Emirates, so that's what can be achieved. No. They can't spend as much time with the supporters because it just couldn't happen. So while the support is the way it is, size-wise, the girls do, interact with the supporters. So it is obviously going to be more family friendly, and that encourages kids to come along as well, which can only be good for the game of football.
Absolutely. As Keith Bryce says, Laura, great display yesterday. The young guns were superb, and our passing and movement was a joy to behold.
Yeah, I agree with that. We've obviously got one of the best academies, if not the best academy in the country, so it's great to see them still coming through. Joe seems to have a lot of faith in them, and you can see that as soon as they're on, they give 100%. But you can also see what they're working on in training, where the kind of link-up play, the way we're playing, we're kind of changing formations and that as well. Joe trying at different things, so it's good for the youngsters to learn that so young as well, so that when they eventually move on or whatever, they're going to have a lot more things in their a lot of different ways of playing and stuff for when they move on. So it's a good experience for them.
Yeah, I suppose that's a better definition, Carl, of what JD was trying to explain.
Yeah, I understand what he means. That we've got a core group from the last few seasons that are either Rangers fans, have family that are Rangers fans and knows what it means, so they give 100%. Whereas in the men's game, it is more of it's a job. They're there to do what they're paid to do, essentially, and it doesn't really matter to them. But you can tell the likes of Nick, Kathy, Kirsty Howitt, I could rhyme off half the team at this point because they all love Rangers, but how disappointed they are when they don't win things, when they don't win derbies, Old Firms, that kind of thing. That's the difference, I think. And the fact that we've got the core group still from even 2 seasons ago, last season as well, and the new ones have fitted in really well. Adding Leah Eddy back to the squad, who's already been here, knows what it means. I think that does make a difference. So yeah, at that point, yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah, well, I think there's a degree of truth in that, in the sense that there's a good majority of the women's team are Rangers supporters, whereas the men, it's virtually there's none really that are, you could say, apart from maybe any of the youth players that come off the bench.
I don't necessarily think that who they support matters that much in the big context. It's the fact that they've played, the core of the team, as JD says, has played together for the last 2 or 3 seasons, and the new signings come in, and it just seems to be seamless. I mean, Wilco's just come in, and straight away she's hit the ground running. Now, before that's happened, she must get on okay with them all, off the pitch. So, I don't know whether they go, on team bonding afternoons out or whatever. I don't know if they do that. I would imagine they probably do. You know what I mean? And because it is a bit like a fucking like a family atmosphere. So it's definitely seems to be that way, because the new signings come in no problem, and the young players come in, don't look out of place, don't feel out of place, and you hear them talking about each other, and you hear the more senior players talking about the young players, and they don't talk about them disparagingly or as a kid coming up or anything like that. They seem to know what's going on. Whereas you're right, with the men, it's a completely different thing. I don't think the main squad are as close as to each other as the women are.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. And so we'll get on to the game. And Laura, the first goal was a funny one to start with. Laura seems to get.
Could we have the team, please, Mr. Bryan? Thank you.
He's already done that.
I've done that.
No, you haven't. Have you even did the team?
Yeah,
Yes.
did the team.
You did. Sorry, you did. Mate. That tells you how bad my head is. Sorry, carry on.
That's okay.
We'll edit that bit out.
I'll let you off. Don't worry.
Sorry.
Yeah, so Laura Berry went down the right, but lost the ball initially. Tess wins it back, plays it back to Laura, but a little bit ahead of her now. She had no real right to get that ball. The defender should have either dealt with it or easily seen that out, but for some reason the defender let Laura get round the side of her, and great tenacity from Laura to win the ball, and she squared the ball to Wilco, who does what Wilco does.
Yeah, puts it at the back of the net. It was good, really good work for Laura Berry. It just kind of summed up her yesterday that she's just willing to get stuck in and fight for every ball. And the Dundee United defence is absolutely atrocious, to be honest. So you knew for previous games as well that they weren't that great, but it's a really good work for Laura to get that goal, keep that in after kind of losing it initially, but as soon as she passes it to Wilco, you know that it's only going to go in one place, and that's the back of the net, because she just seems unstoppable, doesn't it?
Very much so, very much so. Goal number 2, Carr, a decisive pass from Ailey Austin down the right to Mia McCauley. Mia McCauley did one thing, controlled it, and fired it straight into the box to the dangerous area. And unfortunately, fortunately for us, unfortunate for the Dundee United defender, she deflected it straight into the bottom corner.
I mean, how often we said that, get balls into the box, something might happen. That's what our third own goal of the season, fourth own goal of the season. So we're doing something right, get the ball into the area. The Dundee United defender is obviously trying to kick it out, but just kicks it straight into the back of the net, which is unfortunate, but I mean, I don't care. As long as we're scoring goals, I don't care where they come from, as long as they go in the back of the net. But again, really good work. Mia, I believe, had a really good game yesterday from what I was told by Laura and Alan and that. So it's good that she's kind of picked up a bit and taken over from Lizzie for that one game.
Yeah, and obviously the next one came in quite quickly because we were firing, on all cylinders yesterday. Excuse me, a short corner from Lizzie Arnott. Great work from Mia McCauley. Good footwork. A quick pass into Kirsty Howitt, and Kirsty Howitt rifled it in the top corner. Yeah,
as Carl said, from what I've seen in the highlights and from what I've been told, Mia McCauley was outstanding yesterday. You know what I mean? She was great, goals all over the place. I mean, it was great football, great ball into Kirsty. That's just what she does. She's a goal scorer. She scores goals, and that's exactly what she did.
And is that good, Laura, in the sense that because obviously Mia struggled. You could argue struggled a slight bit at the start of the season. She just wasn't firing, but now I think she's found her feet, and I don't know. Maybe some players just take a wee bit longer to get into the season than others.
Yeah, I think it was Joe was kind of trying to figure out who was going to work with who as well. So I think it's taken me that wee while, maybe even in training, to kind of find the link up with Wilco and that with Kirsty and that again. But it's also good that all their strikers are scoring now, so there's plenty, obviously, goals coming up for all of them. But with Lizzie doing so well, Mia doing so well, we're really fantastic going forward, and then you just don't know where the next goal is going to come from because we're just absolutely firing on attack.
Absolutely. And Carr, this was straight out of the young team. Ailey Austin picked up the ball, spotted the run of Laura Berry. Laura Berry latched onto it and quick thinking chipped it over the goalie.
There's one that bounced off the post and goes in, because initially I saw the highlights and there was a couple in there that didn't go in, so I thought maybe this was one of the ones that didn't, but obviously it bounces off the post and goes in. But again, Dundee United weren't great, but we seem to be trying that occasionally, putting long balls over the top from the kind of defence. and then the strikers are just getting hold of it, or the wingers are getting hold of it and putting balls into the box. And this one, she perfectly places it onto the post and in, so you can't ask for much better. She looked like she was having a whale of a time yesterday, in amongst everything, assists and goals, and just having a great time. And you've got to take it in context. Dundee United aren't great, so I'm not reading too much into it, but obviously I'm buzzing because it's Laura Berry and she scored 3 goals. So
absolutely. And just speaking of Ailey Austin there, Car, I mean, whenever she's either started or came into the team, she's never really looked out of place. She's really quick, which is, she's a tall lassie as well. So to be that quick, being that sort of height's unusual. Her range of passing is amazing. I mean, as I say, there was the long ball there for Laura Berry's goal. There was the pass at Mia McCauley before, with the own goal. A quick one along the ground. I mean, she doesn't look out of place, does she?
She doesn't, and she's one I'm very excited about. And I don't think there's many that I'm not excited about, to be honest, because all of the young team are just that good. But she's one that I wish would get more game time, but it's kind of difficult with the players they brought in and with Nick and that in the back line. She's not going to get as much game time, but she is really good physically, very good technically. As you say, her range of passing is really good. She's not scared to take a shot on, which I thoroughly enjoy. She hit them from distance, not hit the back of the net yet, but had a few come off the woodwork. So one that I'm really excited about. And you can see that Joe really trusts her to kind of put her in the back line from the start. Fair enough, it's Dundee United, but it's good that she's getting that opportunity, and Joe really trusts all of them to go out and do what they need to do. So, yeah, it's really exciting, especially with her, yeah.
And Will Flora's next goal came quite soon after, a cross in from Nick Docherty. Now, the way Laura headed it looked as though she sort of headed it backwards, or, it was a funny sort of way to have headed it. I think the goalie palmed it on the bar, come down, and, spun him back into the goal.
I'm not quite sure what the goalie did with it. The goalie did well to get a hand on it in the first instance, but it looked in. I mean, it was a decent header. Basically, Laura did what any good striker is going to do. The ball comes in, just direct it towards the goal, and it could end up anywhere. It's like we were saying about the own goal. You put a cross into an area, somebody will hit somebody, and it could end up anywhere. So when that ball gets floated into Laura, she puts her head on it, and it went in the direction of the goal, and the goalkeeper flapped at it a bit for me, but it ended up in the net. You can't ask for more than that.
And Laura, the 6th goal just before half time, another good ball through to Laura Berry. Good build up, actually. You had Ailey Austin starting it, and then I think it was Kirsty Howitt passed it into Laura Berry. Laura Berry spotted Wilkinson in the middle. Could have quite easily had a shot herself, but was unselfish, and Walco did what Walco does, as I keep saying so many times, but it's so obvious.
Yeah, and I think it's most impressive that they probably no played. Well, that's their first game kind of played together at the start, and they linked up really well straight away. They just seemed to gel straight away, and obviously that's a couple of goals Laura had assisted for Wilco, and I think that could be a really promising partnership, especially if there's games against the kind of weaker teams in the league. Putting them in and giving Laura Berry that experience, we'll just see her coming on leaps and bounds, I think. And Wilco, as you say, Wilco does these things, she just can't stop scoring.
Well, I'll stay with this sort of subject, Laura, since you're on it. Do you think Berry and Wilco look a better partnership than Wilco and Hardy? I mean, I suppose that's very difficult to sort of compare, but from what you see, it's all good, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it just shows how versatile Wilco is to kind of whoever she's partnered with, she's just going to score goals. But I think the way Laura Berry plays, she's more willing to do the dirty work than Rio. I think Rio wants to be the one that's just standing and hitting balls into the back of the net. So I think to that aspect, Laura works better with Wilco than Rio does, because I think Rio and Wilco are probably a bit more similar, and that they want to be the main goal scorer. But we'll see how it goes in the next few games, who gets paired up with who, and how many goals we kind of get with the different partnerships.
Do you see, just staying on this subject, sorry guys, but do you see the manager using Laura Berry a bit more in games likes against the Dundee Uniteds, likes the Queen's Parks, with all due respect to them, the smaller teams, so that she gets the game one, and most importantly the game time, but B, just games in the sense that she feels part of the team. She's not just coming off the bench and scoring the 8th and a 9-0 win or something. She's actually making assists, she's contributing goals. It makes her integrate to the squad better.
Yeah, I think so. I think last year, obviously, she went out on loan, so we were kind of wondering if she was going to go out on loan again. But I think once you've scored a hat-trick and you've put that much into the game, I think Joe might be kind of thinking, no, we'll just keep you in. Against the teams like Queen's Park and that, like you say, I think they'll be the games that she'll be able to start, and I think Joe would be quite confident in starting her, knowing what she can do. So I think she'll definitely be starting more of the kind of games, and then it'll be more like Wilco and Rio Hardy and the kind of more difficult games like the Hibs and the Hearts and the Old Firm in Glasgow City.
Absolutely. So 6-0 half-time, Car.
It wasn't. It was 7-0.
Was it 7, was it?
Yep.
No, 6, wasn't it?
No, Wilco scored again.
Oh, jeepers. I missed a goal.
Yeah,
Shocking.
Wilco scored.
Kirsty Howard did well, and Wilco gets the ball.
Assist.
Apologies, yes. Yes, apologies. The bottom corner.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
apologies.
It's a
Yes.
good goal.
Absolutely. But I mean, another assist from you-know-who?
You talking to me?
Yeah, Mia.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's another good worked goal. Kirsty Howard initially does well to kind of keep the ball. She had a few players round her. I don't know if they really caused her that much trouble, to be honest. But it just seemed like it was a really good first half. Everyone was getting involved. We were doing what we needed to do, doing really well down the channels, down the wings, lots of crosses into the box. And didn't have much to do at the back, so you couldn't ask for much more at halftime. 7-0 being up, it was a game we knew we needed to go in and score a lot more goals. We've done that in the first half. Can't be too mad about that.
This is the thing. If we're scoring that many at the moment, you blink and you'd miss a Katie Wilkinson hat-trick. There's goals flying everywhere. I mean, it's unreal. It's very difficult to keep up with the sort of goals and who scored and when. But it was 7-0 halftime, Wolf, and there was a triple substitution at halftime. Nick Dock, Kirsty Howard, and Liv McLaughlin came off. Leah Eddy, Jodie McCleary came on, and Brogan Hay. So using the squad again, obviously being 7-0 up, she's wanting to rotate and use the squad. So very, very good management.
Yeah, but Jodie McCleary coming on at right back was a bit of a surprise. I mean, I didn't realise. I mean, obviously, I wasn't keeping tabs on what was going on at this point, because obviously a certain other game had started and I wasn't looking at my phone because I just. But when I found out what was going on, the first thing with Debbie phoned me after the game, the first thing she said was Jodie came on at half time and played at fullback, and I went, pardon? I said, sorry, did you see? I said, what do you know about football anyway, Debbie? She said, no, honestly, she did. So I mean, that was a surprise, But I mean, I believe that Raf talked her through the position, because it's not someone that she plays. Obviously, it was I would imagine it was a wing back sort of position as opposed to being the fullback. So it is a good use of the squad, and it's good that when the game's out of sight, because 7.5 to end the game's out of sight, Joe's trying stuff. She's mixing information about. She's trying players in new positions, because you can do that in training till you're blue in the face. It might not work in a game situation. So if you get a chance to do it in a game situation, do it in a game situation. It also gave her the chance to rest big players before a certain small game we've got on Wednesday, which we'll talk about.
Certainly is. So, of course, Leah Eddy fed the ball out to, I believe it was Brogan Hay. Brogan Hay crossed it in first time. A dangerous cross right along the sort of 6-yard line, Laura. And a funny sort of episode happened after that. I think Wilco did shoot, hit the goalie, came back off Wilco, and went back and went into the sort of slithered its way into the bottom corner.
Yeah, it was Rio that got it at the end, but I think
Was it Rio? Was it? So
she was very lucky to get to even. She just kind of toe pokes it in and hopes for the best. But I think even was maybe Joe, you could hear in the background in the commentary on the highlights saying, "Or we got lucky there because it basically just kind of bobbled a bit, and then she just sticks a toe in it and it goes in." But they all count, and that's what you want your strikers to do, to be in these positions to put it at the back of the net. So whether it's their toe or their head or their proper volley into the back of the net, they'll count. So,
did any of you hear the highlights at about 4 minutes 40 when I think one of the Dundee United coaches or manager was complaining to the linesman of the fourth official, and he turns around and he says, "With all due respect, we're the ones who make the decisions on fouls and that, not you." And I was like, "Ooh." I was like, "Ooh."
Go back to what we were talking about earlier. That's something else that you won't hear in the men's game because of the proximity and the noise and the proximity of the effects mics and stuff like that. But because places like Foundation Park, nice little setup, but it's little, and obviously the camera position is right beside the dugouts because it's the only place they can be. You pick up everything, I mean, apparently it didn't pick up Debbie swearing yesterday, but that's. I'll have a listen. Now I know that happened. I'll have a listen back because it might be on it somewhere. But it's the same. It's the same. Like if you watch a stream from the Orium of a Hearts game, or from Spartans, because they only do it from one camera position. The one at Hearts is right above the dugouts, and you can hear every single word that they say. You know what I mean? And there's effort in blind. The good thing is because there's no commentator, they don't apologise if you heard any bad language.
No, that's very true. And goal number 9, Laura. Ailey Austin pops up on the left side this time, and low cross in, and Laura Berry was there to complete her hat trick.
Surprised you never gave this one to Car, but I'll take it. It was another good bit of work for Ailey Austin. I think she had a really great game yesterday, and Laura had a few chances before that to kind of get her hat trick, but it seemed like it wasn't going to come off. So when she finally got it, she was obviously really happy. And it was good to see it was the youngsters linking up as well, because they've obviously came up through the ranks together. So for them to do it in the first team, I think kind of just shows how good their academy is, that they can do it all the way up and they can even do it in the top league.
Brian, before you go to Carl, because you've got to let Carl talk about Laura Berry hat trick. For me, it was brilliant from Joe to actually leave her on the park to get the hat trick, because it'd be quite easy for her to take her off and just say, well, you've done your bit. Because how often do you see it these days? Strikers on 2 goals, they bring somebody else on to give them a chance. You know what I mean? Brilliant that she had the faith in the young player to leave her on the park to get her hat trick. You know what I mean? And as Laura says, it looked like it wasn't happening, because even from the highlights, the keeper had a couple of really good saves from her. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, Car, it's over to you.
It's a good goal. It's a good hat trick. You'd expect someone that's as clinical and as good as Laura Berry to be able to do that. She's got the likes of Katie Wilkinson in and around her at training, watch her playing games, playing alongside her in games. That's only going to boost her confidence and kind of teach her things, which she's maybe not going to learn from Rio, because Rio's maybe not as dynamic, if that's the right word, as Katie Wilkinson. She's kind of in and amongst everything, so she's learning a lot of that from her, which will only be good. Plus, it's Dundee United, and with all due respect, their defence isn't great. So if you can't go start a game, play the whole game, and score a few goals, but she was right in amongst it. And again, Ailey Austin did really well, really good ball in. Laura's where she needs to be, and she just has to poke home exactly what you want. So double hat trick in a game, 4th hat trick in 5 games, 4 starts, 5 games for Katie Wilkinson. It's just incredible, really. I've not looked it up, but that must be some kind of SWPL record somewhere. But I haven't bothered to go and actually check. So,
just on a note, Car, Laura had 3 goals and 2 assists yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So she's even sort of contributing assists wise, not just goals.
Yeah, that's what I mean when she's getting involved in the other stuff. It's not just that she's being kind of like Rio, Kirsty does a lot of it too, but just kind of standing at the front waiting for balls to come to her. She is getting involved, which I think is good, because she's got that kind of Mia Macaulay, Lizzie Arnott in her to put balls into the box, to do the dirty work of making sure the ball stays in at the byline, that kind of stuff. She is really good at that. So it's good that she's involved in a lot of things yesterday. It'll be great for her confidence, because we'll come on to Arsenal, but I don't really see her starting that game. But if Joe's willing to trust her to do that, and this will just be great for her confidence to keep going. Any games that she does get to start, does get to play in, it'll be great for her. Absolutely.
And Laura, the last goal, the last and the 10th goal, good play from Rio Hardy on the left. She it looked as though she was going to get past her defender, but got held up, managed to turn her, get away from her, and a great square ball over to Tess Middack, who was right on the 18-yard line, and a low rifled shot in the bottom corner.
Yeah, Tess had tried a few before that because she seems to like a goal up at Foundation Park against Dundee United, but they never came off. So I think she was quite happy to finally see one going in the back of the net. And also good to see another midfielder in amongst the goals. Really spread them about the team, which is always good because as much as Wilco's in a good patch there now, you don't know if that's going to dry up a bit or whatever once we kind of go against the bigger teams. But yeah, it was good to see us getting 10 goals after a couple of 9-0 wins. So I think double figures finally and set us up nicely for a busy week.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, of course, folks, that left the league table as it stands. Rangers on top with 15 points after 5 games, plus 43. Hibs and Celtic are in second and third, respectively, down in 19 and 18 goals, respectively. And then Hearts and Glasgow City are on 12 points. So, just by going by that, Wilf, there's a clear 5, and then the rest below, And I think we said that at the start of the season that there would be at least 3, if not 4, up there. But now there's 5. There's a clear split now in that league, isn't there?
Well, there is. I mean, it used to be that people just want about the top 3, us, them, and Glasgow City. And as we said, Hearts and Hibs are doing things this season. I'm hoping that it's a 1-horse race, then 4 behind them. That we just keep winning and we're streets ahead, and then the rest can fight out for the minor places. But it is good to see challenges. I mean, Hibs getting a draw at Celtic on Friday. I don't think anybody really saw that coming. Although Hibs have got a fairly decent team this season, it's whether they can sustain that. I don't know if Celtic and all that this season because they came up to Aberdeen, they only scored 4, whereas we took 11 off them. But that's one of those things. But it is nice to see other teams challenging. I mean, as we've been saying, Glasgow City will potentially struggle, because they don't have European money, so I don't know how that affects what they've brought in or anything like that. So I haven't really been keeping tabs on that. Celtic squad doesn't seem any weaker than it was last year, but they're not getting the same results. So we just need to keep winning. All you can do is keep winning, and it is nice to see other teams challenging. And the good thing from my point of view is if we can keep winning, and the likes of Hearts and Hibs can take points off Glasgow City and Celtic, then it will become us another 4 and then the bottom of the league, which from a purely selfish point of view suits me just fine. Thank you.
Absolutely. Now, Laura, that sort of start to the season, we've obviously had the first 5 games. I think everybody's expectations has been exceeded. I think the team have done things that we never expected them to do. 2 match balls at the weekend. We've had a match ball in every game this week, as the Carver referred to earlier. Nobody can recall 5 hat-tricks in a row. It must be some sort of record. But I mean, Joe's just got the formula right just now. She's picking the right teams. Everybody doesn't matter if they've not started one week, they start the next. They come in, they look hungry, they look as though they're wanting to do business. I mean, it's all kudos to Joe Potter, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I think we shouldn't have been that surprised considering Katie Wilkinson was top goal scorer in the championship, I think it was. So we should have known that she was going to come and tear it up in the SWPL. But I think Raf and Leah Eddy have came in and just fitted in. You'd think they'd been in the team for years, to be honest, because they've just came and fitted in so seamlessly. And I think that's the kind of key thing that Joe seems to do. She seems to bring players in and they just managed to fit into the team. Even Camille Lefay, she got on again for about 20 minutes, I think it was. And she just came in, looked like she had been there. The youngsters are coming up, looked like they're just fitting in perfectly. And I think it must be something Joe and Jay are doing because nobody's coming in and looking out of place. We can change like for like or change a different formation, switch up the tactics, and they just keep doing the good work. And obviously we've not had a big challenge yet, which I think will be coming very, very soon. But that'll be a good test to see where we're really at, because obviously the Scottish leagues are kind of lot of themselves because it's not always the best leagues, but it will be interesting to see where we fare against a top quality side and see how far we have progressed from the last time we were in the Champions League.
Yes, certainly. Just on a note, we don't have a fixture this weekend coming, and I presume that's something to do with the European games.
Everything to do with the fact that we're playing on Wednesday and Saturday. Me, but much has to play again on Sunday.
You just know what the SPL are like. I'm just saying there's not a game this weekend, so I'm surprised.
We're in London.
It's a mini tournament, so we've got Arsenal and then either Rosenborg or Atletico Madrid
in the final when we beat Arsenal.
Yeah. And if we lose to Arsenal, what happens?
We play the opposite one in there.
Okay.
No, the loser.
The winner plays the winner, and the loser plays the loser.
Okay. There we go. Wolf summed it up perfectly.
So it's a little money tournament like that.
So obviously Wednesday night car, you're flying down with Laura, Wolf, and Alan, I believe.
Alan's going on Tuesday, but we're heading down Wednesday morning, and I'm very aware we're sold out. So I think a fair few other folk will be doing the same kind of thing.
Absolutely. Now, going into Europe Champions League is always an interesting thing. None more so than Wednesday, because obviously we're playing a small team in London, Arsenal. Now, let's be honest, Arsenal have dominated sort of the WSL for a good while, or did so maybe not in recent times, but have done over a period of time. I think they're trying to get back to that, because obviously they've signed a good few players, Arsenal. This is an absolute monster test for our girls, isn't it?
Well, it's a free hit. I mean, we could go out and lose 8-0, we could go out and lose 2-1, we can go out and beat them 1-0. And the only thing that people are going to say is, if we beat them, well, that's a shock. We're expected to lose because of who they are. They've obviously won the Champions League in the last decade at some point. I don't remember the date exactly, but I know they have won it. So, but obviously they've only played 3 pre-season games. They've not started the season yet. A lot of them are already raging at their manager because of team selection and some of the players aren't fit enough, blah, 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 and all this kind of thing. So they took it lightly last season when they obviously didn't come high enough in the table to get automatic into the group stages or however it works. So they had to do the same thing they're doing this year. And they got put out by Paris FC, who I hadn't heard of until they played them. So they do have a tendency of kind of overlooking lower opposition as they might see us. But it's a free hit for us. Go down and play the way that we can. And you never know, something might come of it. And I'm just hoping for a good day. If we score first, the elation will be off the charts. We'll all be absolutely buzzing. And as long as we come back, no injuries, and we give it our all, that's really all that matters. Because we're not expected to go down there and absolutely batter them. Come on, they've been professional longer than we've been a club. So it is what it is.
And Wolf, will this be televised for folk that aren't going?
I believe that it's Arsenal are streaming it, but I only know that because Laura said it on their podcast earlier, so don't know that for a fact. But we believe that it's going to be. I'll be very surprised if it's not available somewhere.
Yeah,
I'm actually surprised that BBC Alba haven't picked it up, and I'm trying to get eyes on, or BBC Scotland or somebody's not picked it up. They may well yet do that, because that's another poor thing about the women's game. They tend to tell you late what TV coverage it's got and things like that. I'd be very surprised if it's not covered. I mean, it's a Champions League game between a team from Scotland and a team from England. Whoever the two teams are, that's got to be televised, whatever kind of competition it's in. As Paul says here, Arsenal will definitely watch this. That's the advantage Arsenal's got, because we are 5 games into the league season. They can watch us in competitive action. They've had 3, as Carl says, they've had 3 pre-season kickabouts, but they will be hurting after Paris put them out last year. And it is going to be a tough test. But that's what you want. I mean, people say, how good that. We'll find out how good we are on Wednesday, because Arsenal are a proper side. With the greatest respect to the teams we played in Scotland, Arsenal are. I mean, Jo summed it up in an interview that she did today with Rangers TV, that the hardest team we could have got is the team that we got. They're top seeds in the qualifiers. It doesn't get any harder than Arsenal. I'm more than a little bit gutted that we're not playing it in London and we're playing it in Bournemouth. I'm a little bit gutted they're not playing it at the Emirates, because, okay, they might not have sold it out, but they would certainly have got more than 6,500 at it, which is what I believe Bournemouth holds, and I believe it is sold out.
Yeah.
I mean, from the point of view of I like going to New Ground, and then I've been looking forward to it, and I've been to the Emirates, but I'd still much rather be watching Rangers women play. With what an experience that would be for them playing at the Emirates. Yeah. However, Bournemouth, having seen pictures of it, and having spoken to my mate who used to go there when Graham Roberts was manager of Bournemouth, it's quite a tight ground, quite a close ground, so the atmosphere will be really, really good. I'm imagining it's probably a bit like Ross County. Kind of really close to the, because it's similar capacity, really close to the stands, really close to the pitch. As I think Carl said earlier, our end sold out, the entire game sold out. There's not a ticket left. So we'll certainly bring the atmosphere. I'm not sure which one of the two of you are bringing the flares and the pyro.
See, I'm flying down, so I can't. That's the only issue. So if anybody knows anyone's selling them in the Bournemouth area, just let me know.
She's lying.
See, what you do, Cara, is you package it up, you mail it to your hotel.
It's just
I've done things like that, but that's what you do. But the atmosphere is going to be fantastic. I mean, I don't know who's all going down. I don't even know how many tickets we got. Probably 700 or 800, I'd imagine.
It was like 250 or something. We got
250 or something.
Was it as little as that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought we'd get one. Well, even still, it's we're going to be allowed. You know what I mean? We are going to be allowed because and it's just going to be an experience. I mean, because the last Champions League that we had 2 years ago, obviously it wasn't really feasible to go. I know. I looked at going, and it was over in Greece, and it was in holiday season. It was ridiculous money, and you know what I mean. It's just it was daft. So much as getting Arsenal from a football point of view is an absolute nightmare because they're going to be really good. It's easy enough to get to, and great experience for the girls, great experience for us as supporters. And hopefully it is available somewhere that people can watch it. I mean, if Arsenal stream it, I hope they put it on Arsenal TV because all the people with these hooky sticks will be able to watch it.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be a good experience for Joe Potter as well because this is obviously our first foray into being a manager in Europe. So that'll be a great experience for her. And as JD says, our ladies will look forward to the challenge, and the strong start is great. But now we get to see how we are and how we look defensively and how we will break forward after attacks. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be very much... It's difficult to say, Laura. I mean, obviously everybody knows about Arsenal ladies. Over the years they've done, tremendous things for the women's game. But they haven't played a game. It's a difficult one to predict, isn't it? I mean, obviously we all expect Arsenal to win, but they've not played a game yet, have they?
No, they've been over in America. They've had a couple of games. They played at the weekend and beat Southampton 3-0. But it's not been competitive ones. It's just been pre-season to get the minutes in their legs. So they're still kind of getting that kind of the minutes in their legs and that. They've not been competitive really. But London's been blue for the past few years, and we can continue that on Wednesday. So let's go.
If you didn't know which side of the fence that Laura is on in London, you certainly do now. But folks, that'll be us. Obviously, we'll have some form of. We'll definitely have a pod on Monday night. Obviously, we'll talk about the Arsenal game. And the
Atletico game from Saturday.
Correct. Whichever, or Rosenborg.
In the final.
Yes.
Atletico will beat Rosenborg by Atletico on Saturday night.
There we go. Well, the Stato or Predicto Wolf has come out with the stats. So there we go. But obviously, we'll be back on Monday next week with the two games that we've just had. Arsenal and whoever it is. It's either Atletico Madrid or Rosenborg. So join us at 7:30 because we've got the main pod, and I firmly believe that'll be quite a lively one after what happened yesterday. But speaking of the women's game, we will be back on Monday at 6:30 to go over the two games. Laura, thank you. Car, Wolf.
Thanks, Brian. See you on Wednesday, Chris.
Absolutely. And we shall see you next Monday. Thank you very much.